his dad is right. He's absolutely right, because you, when you become a business owner, like it's so weird, but it's, to me, it just has a lot to do with like that transition to a boss. Like, you have to start looking at things in a different lens. So you're so used to it, kind of makes me think of like the first time I went out of the country. I went to London, and like I was constantly, this was, you know, I think this was 2014, 20, something like that. No, I don't know. But the whole time I was there, I kept on having to do the conversion thing because, of course, when you live in the States, you're just so used to seeing a price and it is what it is. And I constantly had to keep on converting the prices in my head because I would be shopping and I would be purchasing things, and you're not always doing the conversion. So it kind of throws you off a little bit because you're like, okay, it says this price, which I think sounds cheap, but when I'm putting it into perspective with like US money, it's making it make sense. Like I remember like a hot dog or something was like $3 or something like that. And in my head, I remember thinking like, oh, like that's, whatever. I guess that's what people pay for stuff like that. But then when you realize the conversion and you're like, oh my gosh, a $6.50 or $7 hot dog. So, I think you have to do that a little bit with situations like that. You're constantly thinking back to when you are a consumer, where you're basically paying retail for everything, to now basically being the plug. You're being the wholesaler. You're being the person producing the product. Well, you got to look at your cost differently. Suddenly some of these little prices, whereas before when you were a retailer, hey, you're at the register at Bath and Body Works getting your stuff. And then it's like, oh, do you want to add on this $2 antibacteria? Oh, okay, of course, $2, $3, for some people, $5 or $20. You've got people at Victoria's Secret, they'll spend the extra 20 or 30 or whatever it is to get up to the certain amount so they can get the free purse or the free bag. You guys know how it is in the retail world. So you go from that idea to now you're running a business. You have to be accountable for like every penny. And I mean, God bless you if you're already a person, my sister's like that. If you're already a person that's like good with money, good with your finances, that's perfect. But let's be honest, we know what the numbers look like as far as people in the US and what our debt to income ratio looks like. So many people are not good with money like that. Even people who think they are, they're not really that good with money, present company included. But I learn every day and I try to get better. But if you're not a person where that comes easily, it is a little bit of an adjustment, because when you hear some of these prices and when you're thinking about where you are getting your supplies from or where you're getting your ingredients from, if you create a product or whatever like that, you really do have to shift to like that wholesale point of view. Every penny does count. You really, really have to shop around. Sometimes even from the consumer side of things, places, companies, businesses, whatever, they take advantage of the fact that time is of the essence. And so they take advantage of the fact that you really don't want to search around. Maybe if it's a really, really big purchase for some people, you might check on your phone, but some people's version of like searching around is, go to 3 different websites, back to Amazon, 2 more websites, and then back to Amazon. Or for some people, Amazon, another website, back to Amazon. And it's kind of funny. I don't know who has this commercial on right now. I don't know if it's IKEA or somewhere, but they have this really funny commercial on where the ladies in the store shopping and the guy's like, yeah, it's like virtual, but like you're here in person and you can touch the stuff, kind of playing off the fact that we're so used to shopping online that they're trying to bring people back in the stores for things. I thought it was a good marketing angle, and I love branding, so I wanted to share that. But yeah, you have to take that into consideration. Every fuel perk that you can get, every discount that you can get, what your gas looks like, traveling to one place to another, when you have to pick up product, how you store it at your house, what kind of energy you're using. If you're doing something that's like a home-based business, it is really good to, if you can, if you're still renting, to find a place where like the utilities are included. Something like that can be really beneficial to you if you are making something at home, or even if you just, if you use a lot of electricity. Being an entrepreneur, you work a lot at night, you work a lot whenever you have ideas. You might be recording things for YouTube. If you're making something by hand, you might be mixing. And so like you use a lot of energy if you have to plug up equipment and things. So getting your utilities and stuff like that package could be really, really great. If you've already got a house, then you just have to like factor in your bills, but you can always write off things like that with your taxes, or, you got to research that. I'm not a professional in that area, just giving you a little advice, based upon my personal experience. So moral of the story is every penny counts, every dime counts. What I like about this episode that we're watching, $1 difference basically is going to save them $100,000 or something like that. So it's like when you really think about yourself being successful and you really think about the future, the same way as a consumer, really, we should be thinking that $2 here, that $3 here, it does really add up over time. If you maybe place it in the stock market or you invest with it, those little things, they really, really do add up. I remember seeing a video where they said, what's the true cost of getting like a new iPhone or something like that? Consequently, the odd thing is I haven't had a new phone in the last 3 years. And then I just got a new phone like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. And I got the iPhone 11. So like I went from like, the oldest phone, like my phone was probably 3 years old when I got it. So I went from like a super, super old, archaic little LG phone that didn't do anything, it barely rang, to like the latest and greatest iPhone, which I love. And I think I'm going to do a review on it after I get to like that, 2-week mark of having it. I might do like a little review on it. But yeah, funny how I jumped ahead and got like the latest, greatest phone. But yeah, you just have to factor all those things in, your bills, your utilities, whatever you have to factor all of that stuff in, because a little dime here. Oh, the reason why I said that is because, the video where he was saying what the true cost of the iPhone is. And he basically, stretched it out. Now, I think he might have used, I don't know how much he used, but this phone was very reasonable. You pay over time, but about $700, whereas like I think the Pro model and stuff like that is upwards to $1,500, $2,000. But he was breaking down what some of these purchases look like over the long game, the 20-year period, the 40-year period. I'll put his name in here if I remember. But just breaking down what that cost really does look like and how you want to be more conscious of that. And I think it's just as important as you're going along on this entrepreneurial journey. You have to really start thinking about business from the point of view of like learning as much as you can about the financial side of things. And that's why it's good to watch shows, like Shark Tank, The Profit, other shows that kind of break down the ins and outs, the business, take you behind the scenes. Those shows to me are like things that you can use in between your studying and your researching and your working and whatever else you do with your time, to just kind of like stay sharp on things that you need to think about and to keep you constantly focused on your business. So I think that's like a good little motivational tip. Finding shows based around like your field or your industry that are fun, that are insightful, and that can be entertaining. So now you've got the entertainment. That's why Shark Tank is like one of my number one business shows of like all time, because it's so good. It's so relevant. And, the same things that they have been teaching on season 1, if you've ever watched through the seasons, which I have, is the same things that they're teaching in like season 10 and 11 or whatever they're on right now. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys. I am going to skate out of here. Thank you so much. Until then.